making noises in people's ears. Sorry about that. Play it twice, right? All right. Okay. So, shaky start, still hard to keep. That's the question. Connection successful. So, anybody hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Silence here. Okay. We can hear you, but it's spooling a bit. Laggy. Well, not sure what to do about that. Very laggy. Hope the buffering stops soon. Well, that makes all of us. It's coming through fine. It seems... Would restarting the stream fix it? So that wasn't just my phone buffering. Let me try restarting it. Hold on. Oh no, if I stop, I have to set the whole thing. Let's just give it a moment and see if it starts to work itself out. Premiere. Buffering still. Okay. Means I gotta set it back up again. Desktop only. Front cam, stop stream. Any change in, how's my audio now? Can anybody hear me? It's working better? Doing good, coming in 5 by 5 by 5, 5 by... Still buffering, but you can get me in pieces. Okay, if I stop though, I've got to set the whole thing up again, in which case I think I'm gonna just do this a different day. I'm gonna give it a little bit more. Okay, how about now? Can anybody hear me now? I had to restart my internet connection. My upload speeds are crazy fast now, so it should be working. How about now? Is it 5 by 5 now? Good audio, good video. John Levy approved reset. Very good now. Well, thank goodness for small miracles, huh? Okay. That wasn't the smooth start that I had hoped for. Um, and now I can't move this off of the screen. What the heck? Basic stuff not working. Okay. Fantastic. Now I forgot what I was going to talk about. Oh my gosh. All right. So, yeah. Good, good, good. All right. Let's see. I should have had an outline prepared here. Um, what's been going on lately? Let's just take a look here. I kind of updated my channel a little bit, just the looks of it, and there we are. Okay. So yeah, so I just uploaded a video just before this one that I took this evening. It was just a beautiful night. I went walking in the river bottom, and so I filmed that one, and that's definitely a fun one to see, I think. So just, be sure to take a look at that on your way out. And because it's going to go with some of the stuff I'm going to show you this evening, because I've got a whole bunch of images that I took this evening, and a couple of videos as well. And then I'm going to be showing submissions to the Telegram Biogeology channel that a friend of mine helped me set up. This is what it looks like. If you're new to Telegram, you can download it. You can use it on your desktop, or you can use it in an app, and both work really, really well. And you can have different groups, and there's a main group for Stellium 7, and I'll post well, you can see the link is here. Post it in the chat here. And so this needs to be updated. I haven't been so good at uploading my videos to the main channel. But the main the main point of creating this was just another platform in the advent of censorship, but also to create a chat group. And this group here, it's a great place to come to if you want to upload, if you've got stones that you found that you want to share with a group, or you've just got some amazing pictures of biogeology, landscape, or big trees, or suspected titans, or whatever. Oops, I just posted the Telegram chat in the Telegram chat. That'll be helpful to them. There we go. So that's also in the chat. So those two are cool, and in a little bit we'll go through the chat, because one of the things that's cool about it is you've got all the resources here of the photographs and the videos that other people have submitted. And some of them are really, really nice. And the thumbnail to this video is showing several heartstones that people have posted either here or sent me in emails. And I'm going to show a few more. And some of them are absolutely amazing, because in this area I get like darker pink all the way to bone white, which are the normal stages, as more and more blood is removed from the heart. Can see videos on what they call decellularization, where they actually remove the blood from the heart, and it is bone white. It's all of the fatty, fibrous tissue that is the heart. That's the majority of the heart, not the blood, not even the muscle fiber. It's amazing, but I've shown that in other videos. But anyway. So some of these hearts that they've sent in are just really red. I don't see anything like that around here. Ever since I started getting on this subject, it's only been in this region of Spain that I've been in. So people have sent examples of stones from all over the world. What I'm talking about now, so I can just show some things here. This is a recent one, a recent upload. Looking very fleshy. And this is a really interesting one. You can see the bottom chunk is missing, and this almost looks like paint. He said he initially thought it was paint when he picked this rock up, and then I have other. This is another one. Look at this. This is just amazing. This one, and you can see the indentations for the blood vessels, the fatty marbling. This is another that's remarkable. And then there's another. He's got another photo of this one. This is as I was putting away the stones from a live stream I did the other day, and I'll show just a little video of that. This one is just fantastic. He's got later on. There's a video of him rotating this stone. So tell me that doesn't look like a heart. Well, I suppose you can tell me, but I might not believe you. So everything's still going good. Can I continue here? It's getting crisper. Hope it's not like gene editing CRISPR. Tried to join. I have no phone. Hey, Rourke, Derp, Morning Glory, Aurorian, welcome, Wendy, Super Wacky Wabbit. Okay, so still good. All right. Well, let's continue. So yeah. So going back to the channel, I called this the Telegram subscriber submissions and browser tabs. So got all these tabs here, and they all kind of have a thread going through them. The theme of biogeology, instant petrification, looking at different geological features and phenomenon, and this isn't going to be a super long live stream tonight. I just want to kind of go through some of these things, and it gives me a chance to share them with you, and to close the tabs. Sometimes the audio is not so great because of the mopeds and motorcycles going by. Okay, so anyway, yeah, just spruced up the channel a little bit, and wanted to show you that as well, and give you the Telegram links. So some people send me emails, and I've made my email available in some places, but the problem is that a lot of the stuff just falls in a black hole there, because that's one thing I'm really bad at, is returning emails. So just be forewarned. Telegram is probably a better place to share stuff if you've got examples, and that's the whole idea. I'm working in this area, and am finding what I'm finding and sharing it, and a lot of people are sharing similar things from other parts of the world, and looks very similar. Oh, so let's just show you this one. This is another one that was submitted, and it's just it's a beauty. That's the oops. This is the back side of it. I have a ton of stones that have this exact shape, and they're in all different sizes, going from millimeters up to the size of I don't know, big ones. You'll see here. So these are images that I took tonight, this evening, and just skim through them. This is close that one. That's the video that I just uploaded, And so that one isn't so obvious from the photograph. You have to see it from other angles. But these are some of the ones that I found. This one is partially buried, and I turned it over, and that's from the other side. So that is the back side, and that's the front. And these are big. This is the Gata de Gorgos river bottom. Whoop! I wasn't expecting that. Spacebar makes the video go away. It's strange. Yeah, so you can see the stones gather in certain parts of the river depending on the bend. You know, I think it's the centrifuge of the water that kind of flings them out to the side. I was talking with Mike, Hangman 1128. He was reminding me that this is a muddy silt. And where that isn't present, the river bottom is just one big solid, long, kind of flowing piece of stone. And then there's all of these. So the interesting thing is this kind of stone is not what the mountains are made of around here. And you'll see over here there's a cliff. Oh wait, let me make sure I'm not blocking the screen with my face here. Here we go. Yeah, so this is, you know, this is all kinds of different stones, but there's an emerging pattern there that if you followed my channel for a while, you're already well familiar with. And so you'll see more examples of that here. There we go. Oh. I have a new video player, and it's not like VLC, which is what I'm used to. Close that one. Here we go. So this is the flattened top and the sulcus line. This one is broken off here, but if it wasn't broken and that continued down, it'd be the same thing. That was pretty buried, so I didn't bother to get that one out. Here you've got the aorta vena cava. It's the same curving inward. This is a big one. That's like 1.5 feet long or more. So these are, I show these in the video that I just uploaded to the channel. This is the, you know, I have a stone here in my office that I've shown a bunch of times that is same shape. It's got opening here with the isthmus where the blood vessels go, or the valves, the papillary muscles and all of that. And then the top portion, you'll have either indentations or openings there. This is looking at the top, that whole area. I have one just like this, but a little bit smaller in my office. This one is missing a chunk right here, but you can see the form is beautiful on this one. And there's a little crease there at the top, pinched off. Oh, space bar. I'm just not used to that. I have one just like this, but a little bit smaller. Yeah, so this one here I brought back, and I'll show that in a second. There we go. Out the propeller twist. This one is interesting as well. This portion here is broken away, and if you look at it, it looks like a heart stone, right? And you can see that would have just filled it out, and it would have been that perfect shape. This one is really pink also. Underwater, that would be really nice to look at. So since this one's already broken, I'm going to take it and Maybe slice it open a bit more. Oh, almost a... This is about 40 feet high, and it's just mud, and then all of these stones are caked in there, just filled with them. And I'll show a video in a second where I'm actually explaining. Full moon over there. Yeah, that was this evening. Pretty beautiful night, and got some very good footage. So let's see that one. Here's two I found on my way back. That's the front side, and that's the back side. And I brought these back as well. So, and somebody was asking me in one of the comments, like, how big do they get? And possibly this big. I've seen them as big as 4 foot. This one was pretty amazing. So this is the bottom half. That's the top half. And I've got it from other angles here. I'll show you. Yeah, so this is looking, I'm turned around here. Yeah, this is the bottom portion, which is missing a bit right there. And then that would be the top. This is down below looking up. So I was standing here. So I don't know if that's one or not. This is clearly like an aggregate. That's some kind of a polymer. This one was down on the ground, right below that big one. It's amazing how often that shape repeats itself. This is what I wanted to show here. So the interesting thing about well, I'll say it here in the video. Notice that this wall is about 30 feet high? No, maybe 40. You notice all the stones caught in the mud there. They're all smoothed out. None of them are like jagged, halfway on their way to being smoothed out. They're all just smooth, even though they're just suspended there in the mud. It's the same thing down here. You've got some that are kind of bumpy and not so pretty looking. So these are supposed to be all smoothed out because of the river erosion and everything, but these already look like that, and they're up here suspended in all of the earth. And yeah, so but talked about that before. The ones that are jagged and broken and fragmented, that's just how they are, and then they break into more and more fragments. And then there's these other kind. That was that one was not what I expected there, but it's a rare mistake. Yeah, like, they're not all perfect. It's gotten to the point now where I can predict the backside of a rock I've never picked up before. It's pretty funny. Yeah. Anyway, this is... But that time I didn't do it. This is fascinating, I feel. So this is what I'm saying is that what we're told is the reason the rocks are like that in the river bottoms and by the seashores is because as the chunks of the stone that is the bigger mountain around, you know, that's going to break off into smaller and smaller pieces, and then as it works its way into the river bottom, it's going to roll around and eventually it's going to get smoothed out. And so that's definitely not what's happening with these, because this kind of stone and the stone that the mountains of this region are made of are completely different stone. And the chunks of Montgó, for example, they never become these heart stones. They're not even on their way to becoming that. So this was a picture from tonight. Monty. Ah, such beautiful lighting. And this is a close-up of that other stone that was from the Telegram channel that someone uploaded. The backside. This is like quartz crystal here, as far as I can tell, which is in alignment with the fatty theories that I have. And this looks just like the fat of a blood vessel, and it's totally accumulated. I've never found one this red here in this region. This is so remarkable. This is the front, if I don't find it again elsewhere. I think there's a video on the Telegram channel, but yeah, it's amazing stone. And the thumbnail for today's today's video, this is one from a long time ago that I just think is absolutely amazing. Both of these, I mean, all six of them, all of these are remarkable in their own way, and they're showing the exact same pattern, despite being in all sorts of different kinds of stone, or supposedly kinds of stone. Maybe it just manifests differently based on how the petrification has taken place, and and what the stone or the semi-petrified heart has encountered after the event. It's an amazing mushroom found in the forest the other day. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that from this evening's outing. It was a nice evening. Oh, wait, I've got more to share. I forgot. Hold on 1 second. So let's see here. I got that one. So this is this one that you can see that chunk missing from it. Ooh, there we go. That's the top. And then there's this one. I'm gonna slice this one and see if I can see anything inside. When it's wet, it's very pink. I got one with all kinds of pink blood vessels going all over the place. It's in the kitchen. I'll get it in a minute. But yeah, so just check in with everybody here. Put something nice to see on the screen. Finding stones with finger grooves like they were held before hardening. Hey, Gypsy Lee, or Gypsy Little. The bank doesn't look sedimented. It looks like everything was suspended in mud and then hardened. That's an interesting observation, because I'm going to show you something that I showed in the unveiling. It was Spelunking Titans video that I did, where I went into a cave called Kovatayana in Spelunking Titans, and I showed a bunch of examples of the stone over by the entrance to this cave, and it looks just like what you're seeing. No, not what you're seeing there. Hold on. So this is what they want us to believe about how all this happens. You've got all these different layers. Someone was talking about dating and the reliability. And a lot of times there's circular reasoning because they'll find fossils in one layer and then they'll say that the fossils are a certain age because of the layer they're found in. And then they'll say the same thing about the layers, that they're that old because of the fossils that are found in them. But there's a lot of problems with this because if a volcanic eruption happens, for example, there can be slurry flows that can lay down all kinds of layers in a very short amount of time. So I have some pictures on slicing arts. Too many folders. There's this thumb. I'll look. Can't find it. Sorry. Suspended in mud and then hardened. So anyway, what I was going to say about that, all over Adventures comment, the bank doesn't look sedimented. It looks like everything was suspended in mud and then hardened. If I went up, I can pull those rocks out because that's very soft. But over by the other side of Mont Go, there's a whole area that looks like lava flow, but then you find the same kind of stone there. But there, it's all fragmented, broken pieces of limestone. And it's the kind of limestone that I call trabecular bone, which is interesting because there are no, now I need to find it. I'll just go to the video. It's in the cave, coming out of the cave. So all of this area is just a flow with all kinds of white rocks mixed in here. Oh, for crying out loud. There I am, my big face. This is where it's good to have someone else that you're talking to, because then they can take over while you're looking for something. So I'm not finding it, so I'm just going to move on. Sorry about that. I was going to show some visuals of the exact same thing, but it's petrified, where the red, all the reddish earth that's between the white stone is completely hardened. And so it's interesting that you find both manifestations, but it's one or the other. It's not petrified and partially petrified. It's weird. Expand my screen, please. Thank you. Yaha. Okay. Yeah. So this is an interesting video I came across that is talking about this. This is a site that it looks very authentic of what seems clearly to be people that are petrified. There's a myth that has to do with some boat. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I watched it, but I was going to put this in a video. It's pretty phenomenal because there's a number of different bodies that are there, and you can see the remains of this boat. And there's some myth that has to do with, I think it was a witch or something that was angered. um, but it was pretty fascinating. It doesn't look like somebody put it together. Oh yeah, this was also interesting. Now I suppose this could have been made. Somebody could have just carved some rope in there. But when you look at this, it looks real. So many different examples of petrification of things that it just doesn't make sense for the age of things and the time period. And we've talked a lot about Mother Shipton's Cave and Lake Natron. These are real high mineral content water places that will turn things to stone in a pretty short amount of time. With Mother Shipton's Cave, people go and leave objects like stuffed animals or little toys and hang them there, and then over the course of 6 months or so they turn to stone. I'm not sure if it's stone all the way through or how long that would take, but it's pretty fascinating. So that was one tab here. I can put the link in the chat if people are interested in that. Pompeii is a tourist attraction. I might tend to agree with that. There's some strange stuff with maps also, different time frames for Pompeii eruptions. So I wonder about that 79 AD narrative, whether that's accurate or not. This is an article talking about Tartaria being a psyop, the likes of QAnon. And it's all just a way to undermine people's thoughts about history and basically they erode their trust in authority and all these kinds of things. It's by Bloomberg. So there's been a lot of people going after it lately, but I think it's like the more they focus on Tartaria, the more they miss the bigger point, which is that there's way more going on here between, the star forts, the widespread megalithic and massive architecture all over the world, just the huge infrastructure, the tunneling systems. The more you learn about this place, the more you realize that it was all terraformed and modified in one way or another. But Tartaria was, kind of a placeholder term that it's a cool sounding name. And there were a whole bunch of maps that showed Tartaria was massive. Like on some of those maps, it was bigger than the Holy Roman Empire. So it was fascinating in that respect. But I don't necessarily think that it was a psyop to mislead people. I think it was a lot of independent researchers looking at pictures of these world's fairs and the massive amounts of lighting and the scale, and it's like we have a hard time building boxes that stay up nowadays, and they were just doing throwing up buildings like this in a couple of years, it seems, all over the place. So I think people like John Levy and others have been looking at these narratives and picking them apart for years. The linked video is set to private. Which video was that I was... Private, really? Okay. Well, the name of the video was there, so if you search for the name, I'm sure you'll find it. Anyway, I think someone in one of the comments on my last video was asking why I thought that Ewar and Wooden Nichols had kind of thrown Tartary under the bus, or no, that wasn't it. Well, that also, but thrown out the baby with the bathwater, because they're missing the bigger point. I think as they focus on these details and inconsistencies, it's fine. We need to keep each other honest and check each other's research and be cautious about making claims if you don't have evidence. But I think when that becomes the whole thrust of the research, like finding out the mistakes that other people are making and pointing those out in a public forum, rather than maybe addressing that with them directly or talking about it in a live stream or a conversation or something like that, to just like immediately start making videos and calling people out, and then it's all this finger pointing. I think it's it's kind of missing the bigger point, which is that there's a whole lot of stuff going on here that's actually provable that we were never taught about, like the big trees, like the star fort stuff, things that I've talked about a lot on my channel over the years, and that is the greater realm civilization. Call it Atlantis, call it whatever you want, but it was there, and we live in the remnants of that. So the hearts are boiled in mineral water, fish perhaps. Well, I don't think the hearts are being boiled. I call it boiled egg theory, not because someone has taken the heart and then boiled it in a way that's caused it to turn to stone. That made no sense to me, because it'd be one thing if it was like a whole bunch of human hearts and they were found preserved. But this is all kinds of stones, from like little tiny ones like this that show all the same detail of the bigger ones that I show. But they're tiny, so it's not like somebody's going around opening up birds and pulling out their organs and petrifying them or something. So the reason I call it boiled egg theory is because I believe that what's happening is the outer portion, through some kind of great force that involves great heat, electricity, or plasma, whether it's volcanic, whether it's something from the sun, who knows what. Some kind of an event has touched this realm in a whole variety of ways. You can see the Lichtenberg figures that are in the Grand Canyon, and they look exactly like electrical discharge. There's so much here that that says that major events have taken place and there's been a lot of destruction. And so lost the train of thought. A little too late for me to be live streaming tonight, I guess. Sunday night. Hey, Annette. Hi there. Rourke. Yeah, this is something that I was talking about in the live stream that I did with Mike, 13th Monkey. We were going through star forts, and I just showed a thing called Farada, which is this mountain. That was a big picture. There we go. It's this opening, and certain times of the year that lines up with the moon and the sun, and it's just a pretty awesome place. But this is the cave that I was inside and filming, and I took the camera and I pointed it through there, and then I was looking at Farada in the distance. In fact, here's a picture of that. This is what I was trying to show you on the camera. So this is amazing. The trail goes up and comes along this ridge, and then you can go in through this house that had this secret hidden opening for this cave. The whole region is epic, and it's filled with these cherry trees. So it's pretty short, the cherry season, but a couple months of the year they've got this whole valley is filled with cherry trees. So if you go hiking, you can grab some. Yeah, and this is what it looks like from the other side. So I'm not sure which one of these holes I was looking through, and if I was looking through this one, that means there's a level below me that I didn't know about. So I might have to go back and explore that some more. So that's Farada, or Forada, Forada, Forada. Supposedly the cave was built in the 1600s by let's see, so Farada and the rest of the festival. No, this isn't. I had another one open that was talking about the history of the area a little bit. Beautiful spot though. So this is another just loose end from that live stream. We were talking about this canal system in Africa, on the subject of manufacturing scarcity, and this idea that there isn't enough here for us. I mean, a lot of the people that follow my channel and other similar channels are totally on board with the idea that free energy is a real thing, and that we're being lied to about a whole lot of different stuff. and that there are lots of different ways of harnessing the energy that's all around us. And by controlling that and making sure that it doesn't, get out to the people, and we don't, work with the earth in a harmonious way, then it's perfect for profits and making loads of money, and we suffer and the environment suffers. So that's all part of manufacturing scarcity, creating the illusion that there's lack here, when I think that this place has infinite abundance, and the idea that it all, like, it's entropy and it's all going to burn out and fade away, and the sun is going to expand past the earth one day, and it's all, so we got to get out into the stars, we got to get out there, because if we don't get out there, we're going to get hit by a big flying rock someday. I don't believe that anymore. I think it's BS. And I think that, you can see, like with oil, what happened during the beginning of the pandemic, all the tankers, remember that, when they were floating in the water, the tankers were, they had nowhere to offload the oil, because nobody was driving, so there was nowhere to store it. So the tankers were just floating there, and then oil went to like negative prices per barrel, because it was just ridiculous. But then within a year, we went from that to having the highest prices in history. I mean, to me, that just screams price manipulation and manufacturing scarcity. So anyway, there's a PDF here for this guy. He's done a whole article and published it on these canals in Africa, and I talked about them in the live stream with 13th Monkey. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because here you can see that these lines just go on and on and on, and they're like perfectly in alignment. And if you calculate a certain number of people that can be fed by per acre when it comes to agriculture, this little tiny area here, he's estimated, would have fed 5 billion people. This is like a small portion of the southern, like Africa comes way up over here, right? So this is a little tiny area with these canals that just go on and on and on and on. Well, he did it, and he calculated it by area, and he did all the math here, looking at, how much food can be grown per square acre, blah, blah, blah. And he came up with this number of 5 billion. And then Mike went, and 13th Monkey started looking a little closer at that region, and found that these canal lines extended way further than this guy had realized, in every direction. And he estimates that it's at least 4 times as large. So that one small section of Africa could have fed close to 20 billion people. That's just a small section of Africa. So that was something else from that other live stream that I wanted to just complete. So that's a good thing to save. Hold on 1 second. I'm just going to drag that down so I have that PDF. Good. Yeah, Africa looks like a huge heart. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, they give us the story of what is it, Pangea, where all the continents were once together. Well, what if Africa was the heart of the earth? They talk about the heart of Africa. It's an interesting thought. So what is next? So these are just closer pictures of the same canal system. Yeah. So how's everybody doing tonight? Sound off. Where are you? Where are you all in the world? Someone was from South Africa before. Bernie, you're in Canada, right? The eyes have it. Burn Eye, the science guy. So this is an interesting channel. Somebody sent me a link to a video from this guy, Dan Hurd. He's like into gemstones and what do you call it? Not mining, but when they go panning for gold and all this, a lot of stuff related to geology, and he's got a fun way of presenting it. And now I see everything different after having gone through the works of Hangman 1128 and seen his footage. I wonder how much of everything that we're seeing is biogeology, that he's showing that the trees are producing everything, all of the different elements that are on the periodic table in one way or another are being produced by the trees. And so when I see stuff like this, I just wonder if this is just sap that's remained and it accumulates in different places. So he goes through this whole process where he's refining and getting more and more of these little tiny red stones, and he's separating them by sifting out the stuff. Looks like somebody you'd expect to be panning for gold, huh? Yeah, let's hear him a little bit.
That. Drain the water off. Let's do it. Now this is why I created the flat bed. I need somewhere to flip this over. Remember I said the gemstones are on the bottom. They're down here. I have to flip it over so I get them on top. So I do that very carefully, flipping it towards me, not away from me, on a flat bed. 1, 2, 3. And there we go. Look.
Yeah, so then he's able to get all of those, but to me this just looks like little bits and pieces of tree or something else. It's you'd think I'd be poring over these kinds of videos all the time to try and understand better what's going on, but it's a question of time, and my interests are all over the place, so I just kind of dip into this kind of stuff. Oh wow, look at that. I just spotted it. Come on, buffering. See the stone? See the indentation? Dun, dun, dun. That looks like a heartstone to me. That's funny. Anyway, that was that. I think it's fascinating to ponder and to just look up. Sometimes it just makes me laugh the way it happens, and when I find certain examples. Yeah, so this is his channel, Dan Hurd. And yeah, conifers. This ties into. Wait, we'll come to that in a second. Here we go. This guy. Oh, this is amazing. So I thinking from a biogeological perspective, these guys are going into the side of a mountain basically and using dynamite to blast. I'm really getting, let's see.
Down this path, let's get to it. This is actually a pretty unique spot because there's a cave.
Yeah, so there's a cave here, and then I think they're gonna put dynamite in and they're gonna blast some of this away.
Right here. And what's really special about the spot is that these crystals are dated to be over 1 billion years old, and that's about 1/4 of as old as the Earth is. And some of the crystals we're going to be finding here at this location could be like
billion-year-old crystal. Yeah, I'm not sure about that part. So this is just amazing what they pull out of this. And the interesting thing is, as they explode this away, you would expect it to be like stone throughout, but as they explode this outer portion away, this is like soft mud in here. And then look at what they pull out. This is just unreal.
Oh, is it connected to another one or just that big?
a lot of mud.
Speed him up a little.
Ooh, the two. Oh, look at that! Look at that one. Dude, everything's falling. That's a really good point.
That's-
Yeah.
Because you got the real smooth faces, those bend the past.
Yeah, but that's not the one I was talking
You found
about.
I can't, dude. You know, not that.
Here we go.
Oh my god.
Like, don't hit this roll up.
Oh no, this is another
It's a
one.
huge cluster.
I mean, that could be a couple $1,000, right?
Yeah. This is so cool.
Couple $1,000 for that crystal they just pulled out. But I just think it's fascinating. This is like, it's almost like, you know, body tissue, and then you've got crystallization that's just there in it.
You've got dirt and stuff on top of it, but that's
Yeah, this is the one.
Yeah.
This is like a
Corey,
50.
check it out. Hang up.
It's like a $50,000 chunk of
I'll be honest with you guys, this is
crystal.
probably the best amethyst I've ever found. And it's just a giant cluster here. And what makes this unique is like the color. You got red, you got some green, you got some purple on the backside here. But I mean, this is just a super special piece. You know, I guess how much would this be worth? It like maxed out, and if someone was gonna buy it,
Probably 10,000 bucks.
10,000. That's a $10,000 find, you guys.
Oh,
That's
10,000. I thought, okay.
All right, I'm pretty excited because we got
I'm
dynamite right here
exaggerating.
right now, and he's putting dynamite.
Ah,
on
here we
inside
go.
the
This is them dynamiting. Boom. Running away from it. I was like, get in the car. That's one way to get to it. So boom, the guy's phone got crunched. So,
To keep the condition as these blasts happen, so now it's just time to go in and pull out crystal after crystal.
yeah.
Here we go. And
So it's like, isn't
That
it
one looks
interesting
big.
that
It's
it's
sitting-
got this stuff that's mud, iron, some stone, but just massive crystals growing in that. Yeah. Anyway, that was another one that was pretty interesting. So now we come to a channel called Tyson's Mud Fossil Adventures, if I recall. Yes. So Tyson and Roger are they're good buddies, I suppose you could say. Roger said a lot of nice things about Tyson's work.
All right.
And so this is what both Tyson and Roger are calling tendon balls, and I've shown this before, and I've shown what a tendon ball is. Tendon ball. Histology is the study of tissue. So you're going to get a lot of different kind of stained tissue and microscopy, but I'm looking for just a diagram so I don't have to go looking for it in the files. But basically wherever the tendons are attaching to the body, like you can see this tendon or ligament, where it's attaching to the bone, that has to invest into the bone, and it invests in this. Wow, it's not there. You'd think that would be easy to find. So if I search for just tendon ball, and you get these meat things. It's not very easy to find, is it? Basically, just think of little spherical shapes that are grown that fasten into the bone. And so Roger and Tyson, whenever we see these giant spherical rocks around the world, they're calling these tendon balls that are basically. So we're looking at something that would be microscopic in a body our size, but because they're talking about creatures that are the size of continents, he believes that this is one of those things. And I wish I had a picture to. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Tendon ball, tendon ball. So like when you see things like this, it's saying this is a tendon ball as well. Here we go. This is what I was talking about. So basically you've got, these are the leg bones, the knee joint, and then where this is going to attach into the bone, whether it's muscle, ligament, or tendon, you're going to get these little spherical things that are going to attach into the bone. And so they believe that that's what this sort of a thing is. Some have thought they were mushrooms, like that looks kind of mushroomy. A lot of mushrooms look like that, especially when they're not fully grown. And so a lot of times these things, Roger thinks this is a big giant tendon ball and this is a strap. So this, I just wonder if this is something that's microscopic, this size normally, you know, as these attach in, maybe. I'm not saying it isn't, but I just think there are other possibilities, and I'm going to show what those are in a moment. So this is another feature that they have, is they're like layered. It's like concentric spheres. So it almost looks like they grew that way, right? Because that's kind of one of the things that happens with certain things when it comes to the body, like say gallstones, kidney stones, that sort of thing. They grow in a similar tree-like fashion. And so then, let's see, wait a minute, where'd it go? Oh no, I had the, oh, yeah, it was in the Telegram channel, that was where I saw it before. So someone posted, yeah, here's some examples of these things. This is one broken open. Now ponder that, and thinking about titans and thinking about truly giant creatures, consider things like this. Those are kidney stones. This is a combination of kidney and gallstones. This is these are massive kidney stones. This is gallstone. So if one gallbladder can have that many friggin' stones in it, think about all of the little tiny rocks, because these are already stone, right? So if the rest of the body is destroyed in a cataclysm, then these are just gonna, you know, pop out as stones on the beach or something. So, you know, when you look at the shape of these, and you can see they're crystalline inside, that's not a very good picture, but the closer towards the center, the more likely to be crystalline it is. And so I think that is what we're seeing here. This is an amazing example of that. So they're saying this is tendon balls. Now it may be that a tendon ball has the same histological structure. I'm not sure. I haven't been able to find you know, what a cross section of one of those looks like. But I think that this could just as easily be something like that's biological from a giant being, or, and this gets back to where we were before, or something like this from a really, really gigantic tree. You know, all these different conifers, when these are unopened, they're really tight and they're hard. You know, they'll hits like a rock almost, but then they start to break open. Well, this would obviously break down and you know, fall apart, but this something like this might be more likely to be preserved. And there's an example of that called Araucaria mirabilis. And this is a pine cone that grew from trees that I think reached a couple hundred feet in the air in Argentina. And these trees were supposedly covered by lava flow and or ash, I can't remember which, and they were covered and then permineralized. So these are petrified. So according to mainstream geology, this is biological, like, you know, petrified trees, for example. There's no dispute that this is biological, right? The biology of a tree. And oh, this was a big mind blow for me. This stuff here, this is all sap. You know, seeing the hangman stuff never occurred to me how much of the tree was containing sap. See how it breaks down. But this is all biology according to mainstream geology. But they're telling us, I think, 200 to 300 million years or something like that for this to form. I think all of this stuff comes from trees and bodies, all of it. And who knows what the parts are. But when you start to getting into the gem and the mineral and gem world, it's just phenomenal, the kinds of stuff, this luminescence that comes from within, and truly fantastic. So I think, these guys, Roger and Tyson, are 100% certain of everything that they make a claim about, always. And he's 100% certain this is a tenon ball, and maybe he is. And if it is, then the size of the creature is what he's talking about, which is something like to the tune of hundreds of miles long, or maybe even thousands. I'm not sure. I don't dip into much of their work. Looks a bit like a brain too. But I would expect a different kind of rock. How are we doing, everybody? Black opal. Oh, I'm big on the screen there. Sorry, I'm blocking the screen again with my big face. Okay. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, there's a lot of different possibilities that this could be besides just tendon ball. It could be conifer, something much, much bigger than this. How many, if you think about it, these trees, when they fill with conifers, there could be a lot of those on the ground in different places. And if they've petrified, then and worn, then you're not going to necessarily see all of this detail, but maybe you would see some of it. So I'm not saying that's the way it is, but I just think it's better to keep an open mind. So what's next? Oh, this is another thing somebody sent me. This is pretty interesting as well. Close these tabs. How nice. I feel lighter already. Okay. So this is from another guy, geology. He's a geologist. Really nice guy. Wonderful kind of guy you'd want as a university professor or something. And honestly, I haven't even gone through a single one of his videos in completion. I've just kind of skipped through and have looked at the geology of it. This region that why does it do that? Just went dark. There we go. I'm trying to find the aerial view so you can get a better idea. I think someone might have reached out to him and asked him if this was the root structure of a giant tree.
To them using numbers.
If this was part of the root structure of a giant tree. And I think it may be. He doesn't, but that's not because I think he's operating from within the mainstream geological paradigm, and he's probably not of the mind that avatar sized trees were a thing once upon a time. I mean, even in the mainstream geological narrative, they're talking about gigantism and everything was bigger in the past and all that, but not like 8-10 mile wide trees. That's not part of the narrative. And so the interesting thing about this is he gets down in and gets up close to these things, and if you look at the structure and the layering of it, I've got some cross sections here. So if you just look at this first and you think about I brought this up just to show how roots grow in general. They come down and then they branch out to the side. They can go down. They can be all over the place. But typically, with a lot of the different types of trees, they'll come down, slope down like this, and they'll go underground, and then they go parallel to the ground. So you could easily have like 2 or 3 or 4 roots in a row, and it would look like this, right? So that's the first thing is that if you just look at these, this going down into the ground and then spreading out, and just the distribution. Also, if the avatar trees were a thing and they're mining the trees and they're mining the titans, then obviously these are going to be really valuable places, and maybe out near the tips of the roots. This is where you're going to have all kinds of interesting materials because the trees themselves are manufacturing them. But I think every part of the tree there's so many different aspects to trees. I had no idea how complex they were until I started looking into this a little bit more. Like, for example, if you look at all the different cross sections of different kinds of tree, this is a cross section of just cedar, right? And this is something Hangman does. He shows all of his footage of the giant trees, but he's constantly got all of the examples of the smaller version. So you can see the grain, and then you get into there's all of these different layers to the tree itself in different ways that it can break down. And so it's parallel this way, but it's also kind of parallel this way, lengthwise, and then this way, and then it breaks in perpendicular straight lines as well. And this is what Hangman's got so much footage of how the trees are built and what they're doing. And this is I started looking into the ways in which sap works. So you've got a central portion, and then you've got one. It's like with the heart. You've got one set of sap going up and the other set of sap going down. So there's sap going from the roots of the tree up to the leaves, and from the leaves down the other direction. So the tree is feeding itself from 2 different directions. And one of the types of sap is called phloem, and the other, I keep forgetting. Here, wait, I don't want to forget anymore. Phloem, phloem. It almost looks like it'd be pronounced phlegm, but it's not. So you got phloem, and then you've got it's not saying the other kind. Where is it? Somebody in the chat maybe knows. But the interesting thing is, because there's 2 different kinds of sap, you're also going to have 2 different complete chemical compositions. So that just means there's that many more ways in which the sap can manifest as it petrifies. So, phloem, stems. So going back to this guy Myron, there's another view of it. So when you look at that, the ways that it breaks down also, cross section, You got to think about all the different ways that it can break down and the different angles. Eventually, it's, you know, here they're making wood chips and it goes to sawdust, but once when the tree's petrified, that turns into sand and mud and earth. So there may be certain portions of the tree also that you know, that are turning into the mud itself. Okay, so yeah, anyway, his conclusion, I think, is that it isn't tree roots, and I would suggest it might be otherwise, because this is looking pretty tree to me. Yeah, I would love to have Hangman join me. He's hesitant to mix his work with anybody else's, and I don't blame him.
It doesn't have
I
the
don't
nice.
blame him because it really does stand alone. But his stuff dovetails very much with what I do. So I'm sure. I just talked to him yesterday, and I'm sure at some point we'll do something, hopefully, to collaborate. But see all the layers here? This is like if this was sedimentary layering, why would it lay down with all those layers in just that section over a long period of time? I mean, to me, this looks far more like something that grew, not something that just happened by some random process. So anyway, that was what I wanted to show you about that. I'm gonna, at some point I'll get back to his channel. He's only got a few channels. He's, like I said, he's a really nice guy, and I doubt he'd believe anything that I've posted on my channel. But who knows, maybe. But I'm gonna go back and see, because he's got like this one here. How hike with a geologist and learn how erosion forms. What was it? How geologists determine the age of mountains. I've been meaning to get back to that one, but I haven't gotten back to it yet. So, yeah. So then, you know, this is one of Hangman's videos. It's the original forest on flat Earth, part 17, part 1 of 3, and it's an hour and 40 minutes long. So he's got a ton of footage, and it's all there's a lot of repetition, but there's a lot that's different also, and there's so many different ways in which all this stuff manifests. In this particular video, he goes through like, he walks around his garden and he shows all of these different examples of the different ways in which the tree manifests. And he's got small examples of it, and then he's got, you know, the petrified version of that.
You look at the different wood here, okay?
I'll just have this running in the background. I mean, look at the complexity of the wood. Now imagine this being hundreds of feet across and all made of stone. And then mixed in throughout all of this, you're going to have sap. You're going to have quartz crystal, and apparently, because you've got phloem, you've got the other one, and I can't remember what it is right now. Hey, 13th Monkey in the house. Crypto Alchemist as well. Welcome, everybody. Brenda. So I ask, what type of soil did the Titan trees grow upon? Well, that's a very interesting question. That ties into the works of a guy named Paul Stamets, who's kind of like he's one of the foremost people when it comes to mushrooms and understanding the different ways in which the fungi kingdom functions. So Paul Stamets, because one of the theories is that you know, initially before there was plant and animal life, that there was volcanoes and sea, and that prior to the advent of trees and creatures came the mushroom, and that the mycelial network could thrive just on water and volcanic flow. So I think the idea is that the mycelium is able to leach nutrients out of the rock. It's a primary decomposer, right? It lives off of decomposing material. And Bernie probably knows more about this. You can answer the question. And so as a primary decomposer, what it does is it breaks down those things, and then it gives rise to the fruiting bodies, right? The mycelial network is underground. It's like the information superhighway for the trees. Other plants appear to be communicating with his. Sorry, somebody just asked me a question. Other plants appear to be communicating through this mycelial network. And then the fruiting bodies, the mushrooms that we eat, those grow, and as they die and break down, they sporulate. They leave their spores everywhere, which allows the mycelial network to spread. But they also break down, and so that's actually gives rise to the what do you say, the topsoil, or what everything is growing in. So yeah, does that answer your question? Cedar turning blue. Yeah, Paul Stamets, he's definitely an interesting guy to listen to. So, okay, hey Willie. Yeah. There's a kid who discovered a whole city in South America just from the turning of the leaves to a lighter green from the limestone. That's interesting. Yeah, they're discovering stuff with LiDAR. Years ago, a friend of mine was working on a project where they're looking at genetically manipulating plants so that they could develop a certain plant that was sensitive to explosives. And the reason they wanted to do this was that they have these landmines that they were putting that were made of plastic, so you couldn't detect them with metal detectors. So there'd be different conflicts in a war zone, and then the conflict would be finished, but still young kids and other people would be blowing their limbs off or worse because of these landmines, and they're very difficult to find. And so one of the things that they were looking to do, and I think they actually accomplished this, was they could fly over a zone that was known to have mines, and then they could spread these seeds of these manipulated plants, and those plants would react to the proximity to the explosive, the chemicals that were in the explosive, and they would change color. And so then they would be able to fly over these zones, and they would be able to know exactly where the landmine was based on this plant growing. So yeah, it's interesting stuff with the plant kingdom. All right, so Myron Cook, and just have this running in the background here for a little bit, because there's so much to look at when he's showing stuff. Actually, I'll let him talk for a moment.
Bark, okay? Bark has rings also, okay? And then you have cedar, and you see the dark bands in this, okay? And I'm going to show you that. See, remember the dark bands right there. So when you come right here, this is part of the dark bands, the cedar, okay? Right here. And you remember how everything breaks off flat, okay? Hold on a minute, let me grab a piece of something.
So, keep finding...
Everything breaks off flat, okay? Hold on a minute, let me grab a piece of something.
Yeah, so when he's out, boots on the ground filming, he'll find a piece that's like this big, and this will be 50 feet or more across. It's just so remarkable, and it's fractal. It's exactly the same microscopically, and all of these different chunks that he goes through later in this video when he's going through the buckets, because he's got hundreds, if not thousands, of different examples that he's showing of all the different ways in which this manifests. And when you dunk it in the water, you can see the grain of the wood in all of these stones, except for the sap. The sap has no grain, obviously. So, when you're looking at it, right now I'm live streaming, so this is 720p. So I really recommend you see this on his channel, because he's got everything is uploaded in 1080p, and you can really make out way more detail, and see beyond a shadow of a doubt that this stuff is definitely wood. And then he goes out with the zoom camera, and he goes out and shows the trees in all of their majesty. So can't recommend his channel enough. You just need to take the time, and once you've gone through, it's like going to a university course, but there's no homework. And it's not laid out like a university course. It's just real. Look at how gorgeous this is. These are all chunks of different kinds of crystal. It's all part of the trees, all of it. And so I watched this close, because I'm like, okay, is he finding heartstones? And I watched him go through all these buckets, and there were only a few stones of all of them that I was like, maybe that's a heartstone. All of these, when he soaks them in the water, they all have the lines on them. So this is when they talk about rock breaking off of larger structures and then bouncing around against other rocks and eroding in a river bottom and then smoothing out. This is what they're talking about. They're not talking about, well, they are talking about it, but I'm not. I'm saying that explanation is accurate for, let's see, front cam, here we go. You know, that explanation is accurate for what Hangman is showing, but these are unbroken. If I soak them in the water, I found this one today. I've got another one that looks exactly like it. Look at the blood vessels. They're at the top, right where they should be, right? This is got the sulcus line and another trace of one there. So these are different, and I keep going through his stuff to see if he's found anything like what I've been finding here, and so far the answer is no, which is cool, because that means that maybe this stuff is dovetailing, because like when it comes to the mountain Mont Go, you know, if it were to turn out that it isn't a creature of some sort, then it would need to probably be a tree to have such complexity in the structure of it. But I don't believe it's a tree. Although I suppose an argument could be made for that, so I'm willing to admit that like for example the eye socket, I suppose, could be the knot of a tree, and then what I'm calling the eyeball could be sap. But I don't think so, because I show a whole lot more detail than just clumps. So, but you know, you have to keep an open mind to things that might conflict with your theories. Yeah, Mike on the. So maybe I shouldn't have it so fast when it's showing these pieces. All right, I'm going to go back up here a bit, because there's a bunch of things that I've been missing and people tagging me. Yeah. Well, you could tell Hangman that you'd love to see us talking. Maybe that'll encourage him. So I asked, what type of soil did the trees grow upon? More even, larger past Titan trees. Yeah, well, look, going back to the mushroom example, even in the mainstream geological narrative, they talk about 12-foot tall mushrooms existing in the fossil record. So there could very well have been the same kind of a setup back then that there is now, where you got the mushrooms, the primary decomposers, you got you know, the trees living off of them, and then all the creatures living off of the trees and in the trees. The limestone cowboy, an alleged fossilized leg in a cowboy boot. Yeah, some people say it's fake. I've shown, I think it's in my Petrified Titans and Organs part 2 video, the how and why, I just show a bunch of different examples of petrified things. Like there's petrified brain, a few really amazing examples of petrified brains out there, and petrified everything. And then you've got Girolamo Sagato and a guy named Bruni that were both able to petrify basically any kind of body part. So yeah, they had technology, and then who knows what nature is capable of doing. Doesn't tighten trees make the globe Earth a very small place? Yes, as do 900-mile-long dragons. So I don't understand how, like, somebody like Roger Spur can think we're on a spinning ball that's 24,000 miles in diameter, or 24,901 miles in circumference. Because that dragon would, like, how would it fly? Even if it was walking, it walked across the oceans, it'd go 24 times its body length and be right back where it started. So it doesn't really make sense to me. And then it's attacking this giant fish, and the fish is laying on its side. So, how deep would the ocean have to be for that to be able to swim? So it makes a lot more sense to me that we're in some realm that's far bigger than we realize, and there may be boundaries. Maybe sometimes those boundaries open up. There could be outer realms, like the rings of a tree growing outward or something. What's below? There's a whole lot of tunnels, and it gets really hot the further down you go. So who knows what that's all about? Yeah. How many Titan trees would fit on a 26,000-mile globe Earth? Exactly. That tech was developed at Dres in Suffield. I don't know which tech you're referring to. So that is it's just another showcasing of Hangman's channel. And the reason I think it's so important is because 99% of the people walking around out there have no idea that those trees are a provable, real thing. Because if you look at the tree stumps, and then you look at the plateaus that look like tree stumps, some of them might be
From all ends of the earth.
some of them might be something else. But I think a lot of them are trees. With Mike, we were talking about Madagascar, and it's like a forest there, and they're all like 6 to 8 miles in diameter, I think. Yeah, so I've been going on and on about Mike's footage, because once people realize that those trees are actually a fact, that then they have to start to incorporate that knowledge in a variety of different ways about our cosmology, about where we are. And it might be that what's really going on has a whole lot more to do with our mythology than the history that we've been given. The Titan trees would overwhelm the current globe model, yes. I've seen this hundreds of times in New Mexico. How can you just not question? Oh, you're talking about this guy Byron looking at the tree roots, maybe? On this video, Biblical Tree Remains, Periodic Table Part 1, Micah by Hangman. If there's something he wants me to look at. Okay, that sounds interesting. Hangman. What was it? Part 1. A little slow this evening. Usually I have yerba mate, but I didn't want to keep me up because I got a very busy work day tomorrow. So part 1, 46 minutes, 9 seconds.
Probably blood did.
Oh,
Hey?
look at that piece. That is just absolutely amazing. Yeah, I think he asked me about this before. I think this is probably this, because he's saying this isn't true if I remember correctly, but let me go to where the timestamp. 46 minutes, 9 seconds. Ah, it is the same one, but he actually had it. He was showing it better here, I think. Well, let me just.
One wants to see it.
Yeah. So if I well, let me just see what he
It's
says.
pretty interesting. There's a whole bunch of these down by the river. Goes from Colorado Springs, Colorado, down to Pueblo, Colorado, and then it merges into the Arkansas River in Pueblo, Colorado. But there's a whole bunch of this stuff, and at first I thought, well, this kind of looks like ash, similar to this shell being encased in the ash. But same as this petrified turtle, it has a similar type of brown stuff, but that's part of the.
Wow, there's a guy on Facebook. He's constantly talking about petrified turtles, and that definitely has a turtle look to it. But the turtle shell has a real specific pattern, so you might want to just look at that pattern, Mike, and see if it matches up.
Petrification process of the turtle. But just because they are familiar with each other does not mean that this is ash right here. I don't even want to start getting into giants and
Right. Okay. So, but just going back to this, I think that this could potentially be. This wouldn't be trabecular bone because it's got no channels going through it. I'd like to see the rest of the rock, but potentially, if this is limestone, this is potentially a chunk of cortical bone, and this is the remains of the plasma and the red blood that's in one of the channels inside of the trabecular bone. And if I've in the part 4, unveiling a Titan. Video, I show a bunch of examples of that. So this is what I'm talking about. So this is cortical bone, and this is trabecular bone. It's just like Swiss cheese, and this is it under a microscope, so it's fractal. And this bone here only very rarely has these little tiny holes going in that are for the blood vessels, whereas this is where the blood is actually being produced. And you've got your blood plasma, you've got your red blood cells being produced here, and a big portion of the immune system is inside the bones as well. So a chunk of this could have a bigger channel going through it that could be filled with quartz and with iron, and a mix of the two is going to give you that color. Whoops. Going to give you this color. So the more iron, the redder it's going to get, and this can actually be bone white as well.
It goes from Colorado Springs, Colorado.
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was. There's a much better angle. If that was bone with blood vessel, because this is the other thing that makes me think that as well. So here you have the blood plasma, red blood, and here. This is a thicker layer of quartz. This is your lining of the blood vessel. Does that make sense? So that's going to be a much thicker, what do you say? A thicker concentration of the quartz than what's floating, in the blood with the plasma and the red blood cells. So that was an interesting one. I'm glad you brought that up. In fact, I should save a picture of that just for posterity, right? Oops. All right. Housekeeping. All right. So, yeah, and then that's that rock. Asbestos. Oh, it's interesting. He's got, okay, so yeah, how is tiger eye formed? I think it's, really likely that a lot of this stuff is coming from the trees. Not just likely, it's obvious. Be interesting to see where labradorite forms, or these fire agates. I'd like to see that in situ, as they say, which means on location, see it coming from the tree. So if you ever find some on site, Mike, let me know. Yeah, so that is what I had as far as the tabs go. Close those. Spectrolite. I learned a new word the other day. I think it was chatoyancy, if I remember correctly. Chatoyancy. And that's this cat eye effect, the reflectance. And then if you take that word as an image search, he says he leaves the Titans to me as I know more than he does. Well, I don't know. Who knows a lot about Titans? You've got the people who study mythology know more about Titans than I do. I just know about one Titan, and I've looked at it up close. This is all chatoyancy, this kind of glow, and then you get like with the spectrolite and the labradorite, you get that fascinating shimmer, opals as well. It's a beautiful, amazing world we live in. Yeah, so if you have any finds that you want to share, this is the place to do it, because if you send them to me in email, it'll probably get lost in the mix. But when you look at this stuff under a microscope, it doesn't just look like a potential heart stone here. Every aspect of this looks like meat and fascia and that fatty and the red. I would really be interested to see that one. There's your isthmus. That's the space between two valves. And when you see how a heart compresses when it's still soft and it's pressed against, I'll show you what that looks like. Or I'd like to. Well, this will for now until I'm finding it, but you get a sense of how floppy and everything it is, and all of this is eaten away, and then what you're left with is the harp shape, and then the valves to the ventricle. That's going to be these openings on the top. It's not that you're seeing the aorta and the vena cava. You see the remains of the entry into the heart. And then I was going to show, where is it? This is the pericardium, showing just how thick that fatty sac can be. So that's my thought with the boiled egg theory, is that this is protected in its coating, and then it's inside the pleura, which is protecting that, and in between the pleura and it is water. So you have a pressure cooker environment. So as the outer portion of the body is being destroyed, then this is going to just cook like a hard-boiled egg, and then the bones themselves are going to turn to mush, and then eventually to gelatin. So if you put bones in a crock pot for just half a day, it's going to be mush. And yeah, so that's I was going to show an example of the isthmus, but it's too many folders, not enough organization. Yeah, maybe I'll come across it here. So a lot of people posting stuff, just random bits of rock. This kind of layering here, to me, this is definitely tree. There's a ton of stuff though that I can imagine, but I would just be speculating. If you don't have a bunch of specific anatomical features, like that one does, this is the back side, there's your aortal opening. I'd want to see the other side to that one. That's the edge. I'm not sure, that doesn't look like the same rock. A guy posted this is a really fascinating find. Look at this. It looks like metal in there, right? Turns out, oh wait, this isn't it. Why is it? It's not taking them in the same order. Let's see if I can find it further down. Here's another one of those. Tendon ball or kidney gallstone. Who knows? That's looking very fleshy and bloody even. So this to me would be the bottom. This is a fracture, but this is a sulcus line. Now sometimes you see these rocks that have these white lines going through them, and if you look, the white line goes all the way around and it meets itself on the other side. When that happens, I don't think it's a heartstone like a sulcus, because I think what you're seeing is a chunk of something that had layers, and that's what this one I'm not sure about. This is upside. If it's a heart, it's upside down. And somebody posted this. This is the Naga. I think it's in Thailand. Okay, I'm not sure why, but when I see something here and I click on it and then I click right, it doesn't go to the next one. So I'm just gonna have to open them. So this is a scales of a gigantic snake, potentially. I'm sure they'll have some excuse for why it looks like that, but this apparently winds back and forth, and it's a very, very big area that it covers, and it looks like a massive snake all coiled up. So, and is that a brain? Got hemispheres? I don't know. It's a lot of mystery. Anyway, lots of stuff to check out on the Telegram channel. There's some great videos as well. Oh, here's this one. And see the curved backside and the sulcus line. So there's a lot of detail in that one, and it's unlike any I've ever found here. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is the same one or not. Kind of looks like, yeah, it's the same one. Oh, here's that one. So it's missing the bottom. If the bottom was there, it would be a ringer for this. And look at this backside. He said he thought it was paint when he first saw it, and he said it's definitely not paint. So that would be one to, if you had access to a lab for DNA testing, that would be one to check out probably. Micro Tellinger. He's done
We
a lot
are
of
at the
stuff with
famous
mud fossils and talking about giants, and he actually made a video holding up a heart that has incredible detail. I think he posted that video a year or two before I posted my first video on heartstones. This is kind of fascinating. Looks like giants working with geopolymer, maybe. Perhaps. Maybe somebody just thought it'd be funny to sit there and carve it and make it look like that was natural. But here you can see where it like squeezed between the toes and like pushed upward. This is interesting. showing the focal point. This is like a gigantic lens, magnifying glass, and he literally, using the light of the sun, melts and vitrifies this stone. And when you see it after, it looks like lava cooling. And that's just from a lens, so it makes you wonder, like, if there is a firmament, what can happen with that? You know, as far as focal points go. Yeah, well, that is pretty much what I wanted to share with everybody. Let me just post those links again in the chat. There's the Telegram channel, copy link. That's the Telegram channel. And then the Biogeology chat is there. And if any of the mods would like to join that and be a mod in there, that would be awesome, because I don't have a whole lot of time to get in there, and people post things sometimes, and I'm not able to respond. So yeah, that would be cool. So that was the Telegram stuff. Oh yeah, did I show this one yet? Oh no, this is okay. This is the one I posted just before the live stream. That's a 7-minute video where I'm live in the river bottom. But there is another one that I didn't share tonight. Let's see. Oh, I was going to show this too. This is just me sorting them out by size. I realized that was the easiest way to do it, because I had all these different bags of different themes, like the ones that are showing the sutures really well and the blood vessel openings, and I realized it's just a lot easier to sort them by size. But you can see, if you look closely, you'll see that it's basically the same exact pattern over and over and over and over again. I'm going to do a video showing those 7 stones and do some microscopy on them later in the week. So these are 7 of a kind. That'd be a good winning poker hand, huh? And this is the one I was looking for earlier. that one that was in the field. Now I have to go back to that. So hold on one sec. There's always faster ways of doing things, and I don't know them. So, hey, there we are. Oh, this one was beautiful. All the looking into them I've done. Well, that one's pretty fleshy, isn't it? And then I was talking about one here. Oh, look at that one. A sulcus line. And a curved underside. And another. It's like, if you're going to find an unusual looking rock, they almost always look like that. And now I can't find the one. Oh. Dun, 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 dun. Maybe it wasn't that video. I think it was that one. Anyway, what I was going to show you was that the one this one here, that today I found another one. It was exactly the same stone, but this corner here was missing. And even the underside, it has a nice curve to it, which you'll see here. But the one in the river bottom looked identical to that one. And this is our little friend, Monty. Looking very beautiful tonight. So, let's see here. Volcanoes solves? Yeah, right. Volcanoes. I've got more questions than ever about volcanoes. I've been hearing skepticism about volcanoes lately. Maybe they occur where giants dug pit latrines and outhouses. Yeah, I've talked about that before, like Titan dung heaps. Yeah, because sometimes you've got these, what do you call them? Massive compost piles that can spontaneously burst into fires that burn for months. We just had a fire not far from where I filmed this today, actually. It was about a mile away from there that burned for months. It was horrible. This wasn't composting. This was a dump that just broke into flames, and people were in misery that were downwind of that. It was terrible. They had to go somewhere. Mike's red rug is from. Yeah, I'm guessing somewhere over there. I bought it used. Somebody had it online and brought it back. Last picture I showed from the beginning of the stream bed looked like they were just lined up. Yeah, I'm not sure which part you mean, but yeah, a lot of times I'll film these things. This one wasn't so descript, but when I should have, maybe I turn it over, but you can see there's a sulcus line there. That's the one. It's the other. You can hear the audio in the other video. What do I think of the Ice Age narrative? Yeah, I don't know. There's all this stuff with the Younger Dryas. They say it was 12,500 years ago, and that they've got mammoths that are still frozen. Apparently, the meat is edible, which I wouldn't want to try, but I think it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many. There's the Graham Hancock, Randall Carlson narrative of comets entering into the atmosphere and breaking into pieces and hitting the North American ice shelf and vaporizing massive amounts of water instantaneously and causing flooding, the likes of which the world has never seen. The traces of that are there, no doubt about it. But when it happened and if that was the cause, I don't know when it happened, and I doubt that was the cause. I imagine it's something else. Maybe it's the Phoenix event, the plasma apocalypse. Oh, thank you for the donation. Yeah, I think I'm about 150 euros towards a drone. So once the one I need is like 350 or something. I'm gonna get the one that Paul Cook recommended, because his filming was really awesome. Yeah, so thank you for the donation. All the help is appreciated. Thank you, Mod. Yeah, thank you everybody. Special thanks to the mods. It's a great conversation. Always seems to be pretty much on point and civil, which is wonderful. Good people coming. So the 945th Telegram sub. Welcome, Michael. Tokayo, fellow Mike, part of the Mike-tinuum. If the trees are burned and blocked out by the sun, do you suppose there might be a mini ice age or two? Absolutely, yeah. And if you think about the trees getting cut down, I don't know if I can find it real quickly or not, but there's video of, oh, that was such an amazing one that I found today. Yeah, when is the Hacker Prince out? That's a good question. I just had a meeting about that this week, and hopefully can get it out to a final proofreader and formatter so that I can get it ready to put up. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it done in time for Christmas, but that's my hope. The never-ending project. Won't go. What was the other question I had? Oh, if the trees were burned. Oh yeah, I was going to go to let's see, maybe on YouTube. Try tree gushing water. So this is a thing, like you can see it here. Trees can tap into the waters of the deep, right? That's my take.
This has been pouring for a minute.
So who knows how long that flows, but if you imagine these great trees like what Mike is showing going wow, that was gross, going down into the waters of the deep and then being cut down or just torn down by some great force, then there's going to be a whole lot more water on the earth, so that would definitely lead to flooding and changes of sea levels and whatnot. So yeah, and then if you had a lot more water here, that might put more pressure on the land if the land is somehow floating in the waters, and that pressure might cause all kinds of volcanic activity. Oh, cool. Thank you, Aurorian. Very generous. Yeah, we'll have a drone soon, I'm sure. So, Brenda. Yeah, anyway, that's a pretty fascinating thing. Good to know if you're ever hungry and you can't find water, but you have a hatchet. So, very good. Well, we did it. Front cam. There we go. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining in. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Keep your hearts soft. They work better that way.